Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Thanks for clicking on the video. Have you ever been in a situation where you're talking to someone, they're telling you this elaborate, great story, and then by the time they finish, you just think to yourself, that never happened? Well, that's what we're going to be going through today as I search through r/thathappend. Now this subreddit is just a collection of stories people found around the internet that just aren't true. So I'm gonna keep the intro short and sweet, and let's get on with the video. Last week, I corrected my professor in art history class and she took it pretty hard. I basically proved her knowledge wrong and got thrown out of class for it. Thankfully, rest of the students protested this move and followed me out. They asked me to hold the next class at my house and teach them the next chapter. Eventually, we all went to the department head and complained, so the teacher is now suspended and I have an A in the class. Okay, first off, no, this didn't happen. You're telling me that you corrected your art history teacher on one thing, not the whole class and how you should teach it, run the program. Nope, you did one thing and she kicked you out for it. Which, no, you don't get kicked out of class for correcting a teacher. And then the class proceeded to follow you, asked for you to become the teacher and have it at your house. But obviously that's not going to be able to happen. So instead, you all went to the head of the school, collectively as a group, to get this teacher fired. And because you, this magnificent leader, got the teacher fired, you get an A in the class. Where do you come up with this stuff? You know we're in the same class, right? We literally had lecture today that you didn't even show up to. And you have the audacity to spread these lies? So Numbnuts over here made up a fake story and decided to post it on his Facebook, where people from his class can see it. A class that he doesn't even show up to. I had to stab a guy with a fork before the school got onto him for choking me in the lunchroom in front of staff members. Staff members who don't give a F. Needless to say, most people were afraid of me after that. If this is real, you should be in jail. Lock this man up, whose natural response is to stab someone. Best friend told me one day that the guy I stabbed was talking about how he was going to get back at me. I poured a half-gallon of sweet tea on his head and made him mop it all up. F people. This story went from Orange is the New Black to a Disney Channel original movie. I sat in a courtroom and watched as two detectives lied their faces off. When the prosecutor found out that the reliable informant these two detectives had used to set me and my co-defendant had flipped and was now going to testify for the defense, the charges were dropped, and as far as I know, nothing was done to the two detectives. Okay, so far believable. A couple of weeks later, I did get one off on one of them. I entered a pool hall and one of the detectives was inside talking to one of the customers. I bought a Coke and sit at the counter watching a game when the detective walked by on his way out. A step or two past me, he stopped, turned, and said to me, "I'll be watching you." My reply, "You're not lying to me now, are you?" The place erupted in loud laughter. It wasn't even a funny joke. It was a bad joke, and it's nearly impossible for everyone in there to hear you and for everyone to think that it's hilarious. Also, we gotta talk about the fact that there was no backstory given to anyone in the pool hall. No one knew anything about their relationship or that he had a court case. The dude just walked in and got a Coke, and now he's the king of the pool hall? The 1-year anniversary of this story is approaching, and I wanted to share it with you. It was my senior year, and one day as I walked into my health class, I realized that there was another adult in the room. She revealed that she is a guest speaker from a nearby school who was here to discuss relationships with us. Ugh. About 10 minutes into the discussion, she told the class, "Raise your hand if you have ever been in a romantic relationship." I have never been in one, as the thought of romance disgusts me. But I don't see my decision as shameful. I nonchalantly raised my hand and later realized I was the only one with my hand up. Most people were surprised. I don't think anyone is surprised. I think everyone in your high school class knows that you've never been in a relationship. Most people were surprised, but there was no negative connotation behind their surprise. However, there was a clear negative attitude from the guest speaker, since she scornfully followed up with, "Why aren't you in a relationship? That's weird. You should really be in one." I am normally a passive person, but I was pissed, and I said, "You're right. I should stop maintaining my 4.0 GPA, shut down the chess simultaneous exhibitions I have scheduled after school, stop advancing to states for debate, and inform my martial arts organization that I cannot go to nationals. Instead, I'll reluctantly dedicate all of my time to maintain a relationship with someone I have no feelings for." Thank you, guest speaker, for your magnificent advice. I'll follow that as soon as class finishes. I'm surprised she's not also the captain of the football team. She, as the teacher watching and all the other students were shocked, a seemingly never-ending silence followed my comment. As I continued to glare at her, suddenly I heard a faint clap grow louder, and eventually every student started to clap. They continued to proudly cheer me on while the speaker kept having a shocked, dumbfounded look. Once the clapping halted, she hastily continued on with her prepared speech until the class period concluded. After a bunch of students congratulated me for standing up to the teacher and told me to continue what I'm doing, other students who did not want to admit that they have never been in a relationship thanked me for informing them that being single is not something to be ashamed of. And for the speaker, she was scheduled to speak again tomorrow, yet she never showed up. Go figure. This absolutely 100% did not happen. I don't know what fantasy this came from. I don't know if she dreamt about it. I don't know if she was sitting in class thinking about, oh, what if I told off this teacher right now about relationships? But this is not true. It is a full fantasy. There's never once I've been in class and someone says something so good that the whole class starts clapping. Actually, I've never been in any situation where everyone in the area starts clapping, unless it's maybe a movie theater, but not in public when people don't even know who you are. If you read any story that ends with people clapping or cheering them on, no, it's fake. It's absolutely fake because people don't do that in real life. Was visiting some friends in America, and as a Brit, I was used to drinking and being able to get alcohol from any shop at 18. So after drinking a couple of beers, we decided we wanted something a bit more substantial. I walked up to the liquor store, grabbed 2 bottles of Smirnoff vodka, and placed them on the counter. The lady looks at me and asks for ID. Me, being only 19, just give her my ID, and she says you have to be 21 to buy alcohol. I put on my best outraged face as if how does she not know the rules and say, British people are allowed to drink at 18. This is utter poppycock. Looks at me dumbfounded, apologized for her mistake, and said that she didn't know the rules and proceeded to sell me the vodka and chucks in a 4-pack of beer as well to say sorry. I walk out a hero and the party continues well on into the night. I have a strong feeling he was invited to no party. It doesn't matter if you're British, African, Asian, Australian, Canadian. It doesn't matter. If you're in the US, you gotta be 21 to drink. You can't just be like, I'm 18, you stupid poppycock. And then she just gives you alcohol? No, that's against the law. And then to say sorry, she throws in a 4-pack of beer? No. If I got free alcohol for bad service, I would be swimming in it right now. I was out shopping with my 2 children, both unvaccinated, obviously. And I overheard a conversation between 2 couples about how foolish anti-vaxxers are. I immediately turned around and joined in by informing them that vaccines are proven to cause autism, cancer, and increase the risk of homosexuality, and that they need to understand what big pharma companies want: money. They don't listen and eventually grew aggressive, and they threaten to call security. If I don't leave them alone, my son, who is only 2 by the way, never vaccinated, and he's proud, walked up and said, if they want to die, let the government kill them. It's survival of the fittest after all. They were both silent and had nothing more to say. I turned around and saw an old woman, observing. She looked at me and said, You've raised him well. My husband died of cancer, brought on from vaccinations." She smiled. I smiled back and walked off. I've never been so proud of my boy. Anti-vaxxer parents are so weird. They have this weird craze of putting their kids on this pedestal as some kind of genius, and that at 2 years old, they're going to know about government control and everything like that. And vaccinations, they don't know anything about vaccinations. They don't even know what autism is. You're put them on these pedestals like they're Elon Musk, but they're not. They're probably not even going to make it to 30 because you won't vaccinate them. Y'all, anti-vaxxers are mad weird, I'm telling you. I live in a relatively small town. In my town, there's a Subway restaurant, and I decided to stop there after work yesterday. Upon entering the establishment, I noticed the employee making my sandwich had a very bad attitude. While I was ordering, she barked at me to speak up, and was just overall very hateful while taking my order. When it came time to add my toppings, I asked for cucumbers and requested that she cut the cucumbers up. It is my preference to not have big cucumber circles on my sandwich. I'd rather it be smaller pieces. This request must have sent her over the edge. She immediately said, "No, I will not cut up the cucumbers, but I will give you a knife and you can cut them yourself." That comment right there is how I know this is fake. No Subway employee, no matter how bad they are going to give you a knife. Oh, you're obviously a crazy person that likes sliced cucumbers that are already sliced. Here's a knife so you can slice some more stuff up because you like everything diced up, huh? That would just be dumb. No, didn't happen. I looked at her for what must have been a full 60 seconds, and before I could even respond, she proceeded to say, "We already cut them up, and I don't gotta cut them up again just for you." I asked for a manager. She said she is the manager. Okay then. I told her her customer service was terrible, and she proceeded to call me rude, so I walked out of the store. 3 people behind me also left because of her attitude. Actually, they left with me. Like, as I turned around to walk out, I told them not to waste their time, and they actually turned around and started walking with me, talking about how horrible the service was. I like how they added that they left with them, like they're some kind of hero, leading the charge away from that dirty old Subway. I have noticed a common theme in these stories, and that's that they all end up as the hero at the end. Either everyone walks out with them, or they get a standing ovation by people that don't know them. These are just fantasies that they create. They watch a movie, probably like a teen flick or something, see like when someone kisses or they're chasing after them in the airplane, and then everyone's letting them go and cheering on the love. That doesn't happen in real life. But these people create these fantasies, and then they put them online like they did happen, so they can get the praise that they got in their fake story, which usually leads to them getting made fun of in videos like this. Walks into redacted fare to be told to put my mask on by the police unless I'm eating. Barber has bowl of lollipops on the countertop, slowly moves towards bowl of freedom while they check other people. "Yeah, mate, I'm eating, see?" Old Barber store laughs uncontrollably. 2 police officers realize masks don't stop the spread of anything as they breathe highly exaggerated sighs of pissed off air through their own mask. Okay, I actually love this story. This one, to me, is hilarious. It's so fake. It never happened. It obviously never happened. But just the absurdity of this story. To pick a lollipop, let me show you some. Let's look at this real quick. Put on a mask, right? I don't have a lollipop, so I got a metal straw. Watch this. What? You don't need it. You don't need to take your mask off to have a lollipop. And who's going to the fair to get the haircut? You get your haircut before you go to the fair. You don't go to the fair to get your haircut. What kind of insane people are doing this? Who's getting their haircut at the fair? What, are those police from Zootopia? Are they just giant bulls? There's just so much absurdity in the story from the start to the end, and I love it. Story time! So today I was in Starbucks and gave my name as Hermione Granger. And then when they called my drink, a handsome boy was staring at me. And when I was about to ask him why he was staring at me, they called his drink under the name Draco Malfoy. And then he walked by me and said, Mudblood, and then gave me his number and winked, and the barista started crying and said 10 points to Gryffindor and Slytherin, and gave us both free pastries. I'm going to need to make a video on these Harry Potter fans because, oh my god, they are cringy. They post stuff like this all the time, and I can't stand it, so I have to make a video on them eventually. God, you won't believe what happened today. I knew from day one that my son was a genius, and today it has been proved. So these 3 sophomores were doing sums in the park today, and would you believe what this 5-year-old did? Got up from next to me, and I was pretty confused when I saw him go there and solve all those sums of those sophomore boys. We were all really surprised, and I was literally crying from happiness. All 3 of the guys clapped for my sweetie, and he sat back down like it was no big deal, and like he did that every day. Mothers on Facebook love to brag about their kids, even if the story is completely fake. You said like he does this every day, but he doesn't. So where did your kid learn how to do high school level math? Like, who did you give birth to? Boss Baby? How does he know how to do math like that? He shouldn't. And he doesn't. I know this sounds weird, but I was pretending to be asleep when my little one snapped a photo of me laying on the carpet stretching. I actually freakishly love what my hair is doing here. So I'm just wondering if anyone can make this into a cool, surreal, or whimsical photo for me. Do your best and get creative. That story doesn't sound too bad. There's nothing in it that really seems fake. Seems like a normal post asking for someone to edit her picture, except this is the picture. Yep, she clearly took the photo herself. Why did you need to lie that you were sleeping and your little one took a photo of you? That wasn't true. No, you move your hair out like that. Why couldn't you just do that and ask someone to edit the picture? Just say, I liked how I looked in this. Can someone edit it? Why lie? I was asked last night, how fast do you think one of those Kentucky Derby horses runs? Drunkenly answered, not too fast. It only has 1 horsepower. And you would think that I just said the funniest thing ever said. This answer had dozens of people laughing until they were choking. They then went around the bar and told everyone. One lady said that she had pissed herself. She laughed so hard. Okay, listen. The only way this could be true is if it was Peyton Manning. No joke in the world is funny enough to cause this reaction for a normal man. What most likely happened is he said that at the bar. The bartender chuckled, few people around him, and the man felt like a king. And then he went and added the whole story of people choking and peeing themselves. Just to add a dash of spice to the story and make it more believable, you know? Relatable. If one of these stories starts with relatable, there's a 100% chance that no one's going to relate to it. I was sleeping in class next to principal's daughter, with principal sitting behind us supervising for no reason, in a history class where a killer teacher taught us. Asked, what's the signs of the Neolithic age? Answered 12 of them correctly. The girl next to me, perplexed. The principal laughed. The whole class got quiet. The teacher carries on teaching after elaborating to my answer. My secret? Whatever she explains got transferred into my lucid dream. This right here has to be my favorite story. And it's my favorite because I had to reread it multiple times to understand what the hell is happening in this story. Where do the principal and the principal's daughter come into play in the story? There was so much buildup for the principal and his daughter, and then you answer 12 questions right? We don't even know how many it was out of. It could have been 12 out of 100, all we know. I'm going to assume it was 12 out of 12, the way you're bragging about it, and not 12 out of 20, because that's not even that great. But where is the principal's daughter involved? Why bring her up as such a central character in the story for it to have nothing to do with the story? And oh my God, your conclusion to getting these answers right, insane. How is that relatable? You can learn stuff in your dreams because you hear it while you're sleeping? That's insanity talk. That's not relatable to anybody. You're not relating to anybody at all because no one does that, because that doesn't happen. You don't listen to stuff in your dreams and learn, or else everyone would be sleeping in class. It's not a secret, it's a lie. And the story is just so great because of how fake it is. There's nothing in the story makes sense. Nothing. Not even, why mention how cool your teacher is? I thought that earlier story was absurd. This is the most absurd story out there. It's one of the best. It doesn't get much better than this. Just nonsense. Through and through. Well, that's all I have for this video. I couldn't fit all of the stories on due to time constraints and the length of the video, but I was really happy with the selection that I had. I had a great time doing it. I hope you had a great time watching. If you did, go ahead and like and subscribe, because I'm going to be coming out with more videos, maybe even a part 2 to this. I don't know yet. And tell me in the comments, what's the fakest story you've heard? If you've had a friend or a family member tell you an extremely fake story, I want to hear it, because they're funny to me. But with that being said, thank you, and I'll see you next time. I'm out.